Welcome to the IVM Podcast Network. Hi, this is Amit Doshi, and I wanted to thank each and every one of our listeners. It's been 2 years since I founded IVM, and it's been an amazing 2 years. We wanted to learn a little bit more about who is listening to our shows, and so we put together a short survey. The survey is anonymous, and we aren't going to be collecting any personal information. I would really appreciate it if you could take a couple of minutes out of your day and go to ivmpodcast.com/survey and fill it out. Thanks, and please keep listening.
Hey, welcome to Geek Fruit Retcon, where we travel back in time to a previous episode from our inglorious history on the Geek Fruit podcast. Happy listening, you nerds.
Hi and welcome to Geek Fruit. You're listening to me, Tejas, and Jishnu is here, and we have a couple of guests in the studio. Actually, one's a recurring guest in the studio who's part of the Geek Fruit team. That's Dinkar. Hi, Dinkar.
Hey, what's up, guys?
And one is a completely brand spanking new guest who's come all the way from America to be on this episode, and that is a fact. Aalok is here. Hi, Aalok.
I'm the only person who went to America and got a Marathi accent.
Yeah, that's true.
We have so many friends.
We have friends. Okay.
You never thought it was true.
Just to give a little bit of history,
But
Aalok plays in the same band that all three of us actually, Aalok, myself and Jishnu play in the same band, and so Aalok is also a musician. Aalok is also the only person we know who has completely read the entire, whatever has been released of A Song of Ice and Fire by George R.R. Martin, and which is why he's here for this very special episode of the Game of Thrones. Not the Game of Thrones, just Game of Thrones, is it?
There's no though. Is there a though?
No.
There may be a though.
The
There's
game
no
of,
though.
No, I think in the sentence which Cersei says in the beginning, in the first season, she says, "In the Game of Thrones, you win or you die." So I think that's the only
So
place
when
where
you
it
play
is.
the Game of Thrones,
That's why you're here, Aalok. Well done. Score is 1 for you.
In the books, actually, it's Game of the Thrones. The was in a different place.
I think you're reading a different book.
This is why you're the expert.
Oh, man. As long as it's not Game of Thrones, it's fine.
So I'm going to do what we never do and
Which is?
just be upfront with the spoilers.
Oh, yeah,
So
this is
we
a
are
good
going to
plan.
spoil everything about the show itself.
Till season 6.
Up until the end of season 6.
Yeah.
Which we saw literally just 12 hours ago.
Mm-hmm.
So,
unless you're on Hotstar, in which case you watch it more
Minutes
than minutes after the 6:30 a.m.
at
release.
precisely 7:32 in the morning.
Yeah.
Yes. So we're going to spoil everything about the show. This is your chance. Now
to
leave.
opt out.
Bye.
Yeah. Also, we're not spoiling so much from the books. So we have Aalok here who's going to give us some deets from the book. Yeah, some perspective. And we're not going to spoil too much, but if there are a few events that have happened, both on the show and the book, we'll see how we can get past those.
Further spoilers, in this episode, one of us dies.
What?
That's gonna happen.
This is true.
If you don't want to find out, stop listening now.
All right, cool. So before we get on to Game of Thrones, do we have any mail or anything to talk about? Any cool news, Jishnu, you want to start the show with?
Yeah.
Yes?
No, I lied.
No, you don't?
No, I don't.
Oh man, we should have done the Men's XP article in this episode. We spoke about how Jon Snow's...
Did we follow up with Men's XP? How much XP have we earned?
You mean did Men's XP follow up with us? We asked them to come on the show. Basically, Aalok, let me fill you in. So we said they put out an article about how Jon Snow's Lord Commander cloak and all that stuff. A lot of the Game of Thrones props are made in Noida. Did you know that?
What? Really?
Yeah, it's true.
That's amazing.
Was it in the
His
books?
tickets
It's the new made in China. Yeah.
His tickets are booked for Noida. How big a Game of Thrones fan are you?
About
11.
11 on 100, but I've just read the book, so that qualifies me as
Yeah,
an
yeah.
expert,
So you're already 80% better than
You
the
have
rest of the world.
invested hours on hours, and I'm not just
Yeah,
talking. How many hours have we watched of this show? We've watched 60 hours.
60. Yeah.
60, yes.
Dang.
That's a lot of
Plus
hours.
20 minutes for bonus episodes and stuff.
bonus episode.
Yeah, wasn't this one 70 minutes?
This
Oh, yeah,
was
this
just
was
1 hour,
this was
5
hour
minutes.
10 or
Ah,
something
right.
like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Not counting the...
But
Okay,
anywho, so yeah, do you have anything?
Nothing, no. I was just reading an article from Den of Geek where they were just talking about how fantasy has been forever ruined by 2 franchises. One particularly is Lord of the Rings, and second now should be Game of Thrones, because now no other fantasy adaptation can ever this is a problem that a lot of franchises face. We saw Warcraft recently, and again one of the problems there was that Warcraft anyway is built on this whole Tolkienism, which is just orcs and dwarves and elves and things like that, and no movie, even though some of them have been fairly entertaining, like Seventh Son and all that stuff, never will kind of quite achieve what Peter Jackson did with fantasy. And now similarly with what HBO is doing in television, I don't think we can do like medieval stuff on TV and like be as successful. And not that should be their kind of aim, but just like the fact that this show, pretty much we were counting it off the other day, this show has everything. Like it has apart from zombies, it's got magic, it's got medieval stuff, it's got like, big wars, it's got now time travel in a weird way through Bran and stuff like that. So like the show has kind of nailed a lot of things down, and it's a great story as well. So I don't know, man, what do you guys feel?
True,
like, do you
true
think
as that is, but I think that like it's just been the first one. These two have been the first two to really hit the nail on the head. Obviously, they've been trying this kind of this type of storytelling on film and TV for years and years, and it took them a while to get it, much like they did with the superhero genre.
Right.
And finally, we have the visual capability in CGI and with computer-generated graphics to get the scale you need and to get the emotion that you need. Because as far as props and wardrobe are concerned, we've always had that. We can always do set design, we can always do that. But like to make dragons believable and to make endless armies, that go as far as the eye can see, for that we finally come to this point where we can do it. So I think now, you're right. They've sort of monopolized the genre a little bit. Yeah. So what the challenge is that's a horrible sentence. The challenge that people are now faced with is coming up with a new. They now need to come up with a new take on it, much like with the new superheroes. I think Netflix with what they're doing with the superhero genre is great because it's coincidental that there are some superpowers in there, but
you're talking about the Defenders,
I'm talking about the Defenders universe.
Cage, Daredevil,
Jessica Jones, she can straight up fly, so that's a little bit different.
Can she fly though? She jumps really high.
She can jump hella high.
She can jump hella high. But like Daredevil, yes, he can sort of see through the fire in his eyes or whatever, but he essentially is just a dude that can fight really well. He's a blind guy that can fight really well.
Yeah,
so that's a superhero genre done in a really interesting way that's gritty and it's based in realism.
So are you basically saying that we're going to see the Deadpool of Game of Thrones in a few?
Deadpool Game of Thrones might come in like 5 or 6 years, I think.
Wasn't that Monty Python?
True. That's a very good point.
I guess so. I don't know. It's a discussion for probably later on. But I'll tell you what. So we'll take a break, and then come and dive right into the last episode, which was The Winds of Winter. Also, I believe what is the name of the book, which is coming out this year, next year?
This year.
Hopefully
this year. I mean, it's been coming out for a while.
It's been coming out for a while. Okay, cool. All right. So, sorry, George R. R. Martin is like, his books are like Joe's wife on Family Guy. It's just like, sorry, pregnant forever is what I was going to say.
Right.
Okay, all right, cool. We'll be back after a short break and talk about The Winds of Winter.
Hello listeners, my name is Munaf Kapadia.
And I am Nabil Merchant. We are the co-hosts of the show My Neighbor Zuckerberg.
On this show, we invite ordinary people who have extraordinary stories to share.
Tales of creativity, persistence and struggle. We call them entrepreneurs.
Tune in every Monday to listen to their journeys. We are available on iTunes, Audio Boom, and the IVM Podcast app.
Hello again.
Yes.
And again.
You're listening to Geek Fruit. We're talking about Game of Thrones, and we're talking about Season 6. And we have guests in the studio. Guys,
Hi, guys.
Namaste.
So, Aalok, tell me, man. So we're going to go into the last episode.
Let's do it.
Yeah? Let's do it.
Let's just
The Winds of
dive
Winter.
in.
Did you guys like it? First of all, how good is this friggin' show, man?
It's just getting better.
Yeah.
This was the best season.
This
so
was a
far.
great
Yeah,
season.
I think it was really good.
I mean, so most people have been saying that it is the best season. I mean, for a number of reasons, apart from I was just looking at the viewers in millions. Like from the first season, which had like 2.2 million. It's like at 7 right now. So it's like consistently grown season after season. I think,
and that's at 7 million registered viewers.
yeah, exactly. Not
We're not counting
torrents.
torrenters
Yeah.
and people
or
that stream
hot
it.
starers or heat stars.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
It's still the most pirated show around, right?
I'm sure it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
If it's the most watched show, does it stand to reason that it would be the most torrented show? I don't know.
Yeah.
Yes?
I think anything that is the most watched or like listened to in any form of media
Will be the most
downloaded. Yeah, illegally downloaded.
Okay.
But Al, so you agree or disagree?
I think
best
it's
season?
I think it's the best season because a lot of the plot lines are coming together. Like after the third season, the show started deviating a lot from what the books were, and
from the third season onwards.
And
after the third season, actually, the end of the third season. The first 3 books were pretty much in sync with the first 3 seasons.
And as a reader, once that divide happened, how did you take it?
So initially,
Personally.
Because people were like up in arms about it.
Yeah.
It was a big deal.
it was. I mean, it was different, and I was like, oh, what the hell's going on?
Sure.
But the way they wrote it into the show, it made it interesting. I was like, okay, I can deal with this. It's not that bad.
But you feel like they did it to cut the fat from the books, right? Like they've not done it because they were like, this is irrelevant for me.
Can you tell us what was one of the biggest deviations that happened?
Well, one of the biggest deviations that happened and came back together in the show is Jamie going to end the siege at meeting Brienne.
Oh, okay.
So when did that
happen in the books?
They brought it back now.
That happened there. I mean, a lot of things happen in the show that different characters do in the book.
Okay.
So because there's like double the number of characters in the book.
That's true.
In the show. So Jamie's story is all over the place in the show, and it comes back together in a way in the season where he meets Brienne at river, and I said, okay, I guess you've got it back after 3 years.
But I mean, I feel like they're doing it so that it kind of makes most like emotional like effectiveness, for why it would make sense to. I mean, if she came back slightly earlier, they're seeing each other after so long, and they had that kind of romantic-ish vibe going on.
Yeah, the reunion was great.
And it's good, and it's but again, Jamie doesn't do a lot of things that he does in the show. He doesn't go to Dawn. There's somebody else who's in Dawn.
So
he doesn't.
I have a question for you. Right. So like you said, they've been assigning different plot point roles to different people to sort of dumb it down, cut the fat, like you said, right?
To say dumb it down is doing such a disservice, though. I mean, like this show is quite hard to follow.
Exactly. So it's hard enough to follow, right? It's hard enough to follow.
Yeah.
So I like the season a lot. Best or not, I mean, is a different question. But I really enjoyed this because this season I found the most cohesive for me. I was able to follow, especially this last episode. With every scene, they were just basically giving you closure for every scene. Like there could have been an ending 5 times over.
Yeah.
Right? So what I want to know is, obviously, like you said, there are a ton more characters in the book. But what I think really works with this show, and the reason people get so upset when people die, and why I was always looking forward to what big surprise is coming next, is because we're so emotionally invested in these characters. Because, yes, the relationships are complicated because you never know who's friends with who and who's backstabbing who. But there are a finite number of central characters. There are only a handful of really pivotal characters, and then the weight of who's winning the game always changes. So, but if there are like 100 characters like there were in the book, did you find that it was getting overwhelming?
Not particularly, because even there's like a lot of characters there. I think there are 3 main plot lines which are going on parallelly. One's the war that's happening in Westeros.
I think so. So one is the King's Landing. I've kind of tried to put it down into what this 6th season was.
So one is King's Landing and whatever's going on in Westeros and the actual fight for the throne. One is Jon's story beyond the wall.
Yeah.
And one's Dany's story at Essos, and
then there's also
all
Arya.
the other characters and all the,
and
so Arya keeps going into one and going at it, but effectively if you look at it, 3 broad plot lines, those are
stories
which have been
3 bigger than life
and they're
stories.
all like converging right now, so that's I think why this 6th season was like so good. I think because they're free from the bound, like the binds of this book. They can just like literally now go and one thing I think everybody's noticed that this show is going at such speed now, it's so fast.
About the speed, like there was something that annoyed me about the last episode
okay, let's talk about the last episode. We were talking about the last episode.
I mean,
spoilers.
Not really.
Okay, go ahead.
Did annoy me? Not the spoilers. It's just like the timelines are adjusted so much, so just to suit the plotline. Like for example, Varys.
Yes, Varys. He just
disappears. And
he's in Dawn 1 second, and then
he's back.
10 minutes later, he's on the boat with Dany.
Yeah, there are some jumps there because
and the distances described in the book are huge. Like it takes 2 book.
But somebody was saying that he was on a Tyrell ship. That's what I read on Reddit, which is where I pretty much got every episode.
Well, speaking of Tyrell, Grandma Tyrell, like after the explosion happens with the sparrows,
is out of there.
She's out of there.
She's in Dawn.
But when she's in Dawn, she's so calm that made me feel like, it's been a while. She's dealt with the fact that her entire family's just died.
Here's the other thing, though. I felt the same way about Cersei and Tommen and
exactly.
literal King's Landing. But you know what? It is a real King's Landing. No, the other thing was that it just felt like, just that moment just was such a throwback to the first episode where Jamie pushes Bran out of the thing. It was perfect, right? So, perfect. His son is dead. But, but the funny thing was just that, when they're telling Tommen, when they're telling Cersei about Tommen and he's dead, she's just like, alright, another one bites the dust.
And even Jamie, when he comes back and he sees her sitting on the Iron Throne, clearly he understands that his kid is dead. But probably much like us, Tommen is their least favorite. That one too.
It was inevitable.
Nobody liked Tommen.
Wasn't he dead already?
Nobody liked Tommen.
So actually, can we I want to backtrack for a second. Can we just break down
this episode or what?
Just break down where we're at right now, just so we have our heads around everything.
Okay, cool.
Mainly because I just want to make sure I know where
King's
we are.
Landing.
So who's where?
Let's start at King's Landing.
Cersei's on the Iron Throne now.
So wait 1 second. Was that Iron Throne? So the place where she blew up was the keep or
it's the Sept. Sept of Baelor the Blessed. That's where.
But I thought wasn't the Sept of Baelor where she says that's where Tormund should be, buried or something like that? No, wait.
Yeah, that's why it's supposed to be buried.
The Sept is the religious institution where everyone is buried.
That's where they got
since little boy Lannister became all uber religious, she's like, fine, bury him in the religious place, whatever remains of the religious place, essentially.
Okay, I think everyone is buried there.
I thought she said burn him,
burn him and
bury the ashes
put it
there.
because
the
whole place is burned down anyway.
Yeah,
and that Hindu vibe is there.
Okay, so let's get back to this.
So Cersei's on the Iron Throne because all her kids died,
and Jamie's
back.
super suspect.
He's probably going to become Hand, I guess.
He won't become Hand.
No,
I think there'll be a big fight between Jamie and Cersei.
Yeah, something's about to go down.
Sibling rivalry is going to happen. Okay. So that's where they're at.
Yes.
The entire Sparrow army is dead and gone.
Yeah, everyone's dead.
Yeah,
Grandma Tyrell's gone after Dawn.
Grandma Tyrell's and Dawn, along with the Dornish, who are teamed up alongside with...
Tyrells, with Olenna Tyrell.
With Olenna Tyrell. And the two of them are now going to team up with Dany.
Is it just the two of them?
The two of whom?
The Tyrells and the Dornish?
The Tyrells and the Dornish guys are going to team up with Dany now because Varys was there and he hooked it up.
Right, okay.
Yeah, he's killing it, man.
And Dany has Tyrion on her side as the Hand.
Yes.
Is there anybody else?
Good moment.
No.
Dany has the Dothraki. She has the
Dothraki. But she's kind of left her second sons behind.
She's got an army and she's got the Ironborn.
And she's left. She's left her boyfriend back to just take care of the place.
Her ex Jishnu. Jesus.
Get over it, man.
That was brutal, dude.
That was brutal.
That was like worse than Sons of the Harpy, cutting off people's heads. I think
I have faith. I have faith in the boy. He's a nice boy. He's
a good guy. No, but I feel like that was strategic, right?
I mean, find him a nice Myrinese woman.
Yeah, Myrinese woman. But yeah, man. And also the Greyjoys are also with Dany.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So she has the strongest team.
So she's got the largest numbers on her side, I think, at this point.
At this point,
she's got 5 different houses.
Yeah, if you count the North
and the Dothraki.
The North has a lot of houses, and
true, but the North is like many houses.
But the North,
who does Jon have?
The North is huge.
Okay, so let's go talk about Jon.
Jon has the wildlings.
Yeah,
he's
a free folk.
He's got the families loyal to the Starks, so he's got the entire North.
He has Lyanna Mormont. Boom, done. End of story.
He's got the Arryns, so the Vale, so that's the second country.
We don't know that yet, though. I mean, we don't know how
he has them right now.
Yeah.
Where we are at right now.
He has them because Sansa's still with him, and Finger wants Sansa.
And he
wants to finger Sansa. Yes.
And he has whatever's left of the River Lords, so the Tully loyal family, because the Freys were defeated. Because whatever's left of them, I'm guessing they'll...
No, but those are already sided with the Lannisters, right?
No, they're not sided with them because the Freys control that.
Oh, sorry. Correct. Now
and we saw Arya killing Walder Frey.
That was mad good.
That was great.
That was so good. She using those skills wow.
We now have Ninja added to the Game of Thrones list.
It's even Hot Pie got his comeuppance,
I had this theory that Roose Bolton was a vampire, but that's because of the leeches. Remember, and never mind. That's another.
Wow, nice. That would have been the last kind of thing to enter this.
Yeah, there were no vampires.
There were no vampires.
True. Roose Bolton.
But I saw a great meme. It was really upsetting that Mrs. Norris did not inform Argus Filch that there was a spy lurking around.
Yeah, that's true.
But I guess that room just looks like the Great Hall. It always does. Anyway,
I think the closest thing not to a vampire is Benjen Stark, who is kind of half a white, and
what's
he's
up
also
with him?
He's a white, but
but
he's not
conformed. He's got his consciousness.
So how come he didn't go all the way?
The children of the forest
they saved him.
And he turned him into this.
Okay.
Wow, children of the forest.
So the wild cards at this point are Arya Stark, because she's sort of on her own I
think she's going to find her brother and Sansa.
She wants to find them, but she has her own agenda.
I think she's going to find her wolf. She's in the Riverlands, and the wolf is not.
What was the name of her wolf?
Who's her wolf?
Nymeria.
Where we see the wolf last.
Yeah. So they let the wolf go and they run.
Isn't
the first season where the wolf
and the witches ran away?
Yeah. Isn't Nymeria the one now in the books? I think she has her own litter.
Yeah. So that's a book spoiler. There you go.
It's not a spoiler. It's just it's a thing in the books.
So there's
wolves have kids.
It's mentioned in passing in the books that there's a pack of wolves that has a great big wolf as a leader, and
exactly.
They're running wild in the river and just killing pockets of this. devastation of the war, there are pockets of people around.
All right.
Okay, so we've identified
last
I have
wildcard.
one question about. Oh, wait, who's the last wildcard?
Melisandre, who's been sent away by Jon.
So I want to count all the
Also,
wildcards.
the Hound.
The
He's
Hound.
out in the wild.
But I'm just hoping he's joined now. The
I
brothers.
don't want to get into that.
That's what I
The
wanted to figure
Brotherhood
out.
without banners.
How is that
Yeah.
dude that he hooks up with always dying and coming back
Because
to life?
he's
Like,
Beric Dondarrion, dude.
So that theory I can tell you. So it's he's got Thoros of Myr,
yeah.
who's the Red Priest.
Who's the Red Priest? Who's
there
like
in the first-
Melisandre.
Yeah, so he's another Red Priest, and he keeps bringing Beric back.
But Melisandre
So
can't seem to figure out how she brought Jon Snow back. But this guy's a pro at it.
he's a pro at it.
She learned it from Thoros. So
okay.
yeah, she
Yeah,
sees in early in like season 2, I think,
Yeah.
or season when Arya meets Melisandre like way back, and Beric Dondarrion's there, and he fights the Hound.
Never
Yeah.
happens in the book.
Okay.
Yeah, and sorry.
Okay, let's go back just a couple steps because this can
This is
easily
getting- yeah, I
snowball.
know.
Yeah.
This
So
is just a
we
recap.
have- Exactly.
Yeah.
So we have identified the 3 main armies that are gathering, but
Right.
now there are a couple of wild cards.
Also, no, the obviously the wildling, the army north
The
of
white-
the wall,
the White Walkers.
The White-
That's,
yeah,
that's the fault.
obviously,
that's
they're the
biggest-
main-
yeah, the main.
they're the main bad guy.
The ecological.
So
With the Night
they-
Prince, yeah.
the
That's global warming.
so we have the three main armies.
Yeah.
Now, who are the wildcards? So we said Arya is one of them. We have Melisandre as another one who's now also gone off on her own.
who might run into Arya also, yeah.
Very well good. So where's she gone? Do we know where she's?
She says that goes south.
She left the wall
That
and she
this
just
is way
vanished.
beyond
She's left.
any theory.
Okay.
And Sam, who discovered the internet.
Of course.
Yeah. So Sam is in a library now.
With the orrery,
studying.
by the way.
With the what?
The thing which is there in the, I don't know if you guys noticed this, but
In the
in
opening
intro,
segment.
yeah,
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
that
Yeah,
little,
Yeah.
what do they call it, an astrolabe, which is basically like it's like a what do they call those mobiles, but like for
Yeah.
adults.
Yeah. Okay. So we have Sam studying up. We have Melisandre going wherever she's going. Arya is just getting all badass, maybe looking for her long lost wolf.
She's Batman.
The Hound is now with the brothers, maybe not. We don't know exactly. But where is he again?
In the
He's just
Riverlands.
Somewhere in
Yeah,
the
yeah.
Riverlands, roaming about.
Yeah.
Where's Brienne? Where's she off to?
Brienne.
She's back. I think she'll come back to Sansa at some point. Yeah.
I guess she'll rendezvous with the North.
Because she left, right? Remember the last we saw
she
her
left.
was-
She's on a
she was
boat.
on a boat.
Again,
yeah.
completely different in the book and what is there.
Fair enough.
But maybe the books will get there.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, that's the other thing. I'm sure the books will probably eventually reach some of these points,
Yeah.
like the Battle of the Bastards. I mean, I'm sure that's going to be a pivotal
Yeah, I
moment
think
in
at
the
some
books as well.
point they've got to, I mean, especially now that the show is so cleaned up in
Yeah.
terms of what the main battles are,
Yeah.
the books have to be leading there because they're going in the same
Yeah.
direction.
So
Yeah.
the reason I don't want to get into the whole Beric Dondarrion and thing because it's a huge spoiler from
Sure.
the book which has not been revealed at all.
Okay.
in
Which
the-
is this about?
yeah, don't go there.
Okay,
Okay,
cool.
cool.
All right.
That's one which we
All right.
shouldn't go into.
So have we missed anybody else? Who's a wild card, maybe?
I mean, we were talking
trying to
about
rack my brain.
about.
Is any other
I guess
character
nothing
left?
about Jack and Hagar. And
Yeah. What about
The Bravos
I
the
think he's
people who
done.
know.
His
yeah,
purpose is
it
so.
seems-
Basically, his purpose was to be like
Arya's mentor.
Yeah, Arya's mentor.
I'm really hoping that he is the dancing master.
Yeah, exactly. Most
I
people
really
do.
want him to be the
Sirio
dancing.
for-
Sirio
Yeah.
for real, yeah.
Because we never saw him actually
Not
die.
today, yeah.
We just heard him. We just heard screams.
Right.
But wait, what about
right.
Bran?
Bran is the
What's
wild-
he up to?
yeah.
He's a third-eye
So
raven
he's,
now.
but what's he
He's a
doing now?
three-eyed
So
raven.
he's become the three-eyed raven. He's
So,
looking at
I mean,
awesome
there's
things in the
just
past.
theories where he rendezvous with either the North or he rendezvous. I don't know.
At some
So
point,
he's an absolute wild card.
I don't think
Yeah.
I know what his MO is though. at
I
the
think
moment.
right
So
now,
he's become the third
all
three-eyed raven.
he has to do right now is he possesses information, right? That
Right.
this whole R plus L is equal to J.
Right.
You know, so he knows that somehow in the show he needs to. That information needs to be conveyed to.
So what's
to
his
Jon.
objective right now?
So right now he's gonna find a tree to settle into, like
yeah, he's just trying to make a home for himself and
like
retire.
Lord Santeca.
He just wants to set up a retirement plan and like make
I
some
think
mutual
his
funds.
role
and-
is going to be once these guys figure out what the situation is amongst themselves, and
Yeah.
when it finally comes to fighting the White Walkers.
The
And
White
fighting
Walkers.
the
He
this,
might actually
that's
not be
he's-
there in the next season.
Next
I
season,
mean,
yeah.
not as much, I suppose.
Sure.
Until
So
the
He's never been
environmental
in.
war.
He's never been in any season too much. He's always
Yeah,
just been
he
like
wasn't there in the
splattering,
last season.
He's
splattering.
still better than Rickon. Okay, guys.
That's
So
true. Yeah,
let's
true.
Rickon, poor guy.
Poor Rickon.
Let's take a moment for Rickon, who didn't get a word of dialogue in this season.
Nope.
Yeah, but yeah, okay, cool. So we have most of an understanding.
So I think we have our bearings.
Yeah, I had a question though. Arya did say, she said she was going to leave until we found her slitting Walder Frey's neck, very much like Cat Stark. But she did say that, what's beyond Essos and what goes on beyond that, and we don't know what happens, like,
She's only, as far as I know, she's only been to Bravos.
Bravos, yeah.
back,
What's beyond that? And I feel like,
Kath,
sure.
and then the Red Waste, and then.
But and that's another thing which I think like Sir Jorah also might be heading towards or something.
I think Jorah may go to.
Yeah, where is he?
Valeria.
Where did we last see Jorah?
He's trying to find a cure for his
dragon scales.
Sure.
Yeah.
So, but he's just roaming the Dothraki deserts.
So there are a couple of places we've not been to at all. One is Valeria, because they keep talking about Valeria and the Doom coming to Valeria. We've been to Harrenhal.
Casterly Rock.
Casterly Rock and Casterly Rock. So two places like the Lannister home. There's never been to like either in the books or there've been stories about them in passing. And
even
stuff
the books also they've never been to Casterly Rock.
There's no actual character.
Wait, we never went to Casterly Rock
no,
in
never.
The first couple seasons?
No. We haven't. That's so funny though.
Yeah. The strength of the Lannisters and the actual army and the wealth. I mean, it's always written about, but it's never been shown or revealed, or no one's actually been there as a POV. Kind of character.
Pixar didn't happen. That's what I feel.
And Valeria with everybody.
The Valerians.
Valerian is the Atlantis.
Yeah, the Doom came to. I think it was like a plague, or it was like something. I think it's maybe the skin disease which these guys have.
Maybe.
Yeah. So there's something they keep referring to the Doom.
As far as we know, we have 7 episodes in the next season, and then I think 4 for the last one.
That's it.
So do you think that's enough time to kind of wrap up this story? I don't know, man.
So I think that this is the kind of. It's very much like Hydra. You cut off its head and 2 more grow in its place. It's a soap opera. So it's just chock full of like, oh my god, it's you. Yes, I'm your twin brother. And I've been unconscious this entire time. And I just woke up out of my coma magically at the right moment. So it's just full of that. It's like, there's never any way for them to be put into a corner too much. Because like if Jon Snow can literally come back because we want him to badly enough, anything can happen.
But
I think they need to kill this off before it gets a little too out of control.
That's a good thing about HBO though. I mean, they've never really extended any series like way beyond. Like Walking Dead. I don't know if you guys. We haven't done an episode on it, but it is the absolute worst show right now.
Yeah,
oh my god!
I cut out like 2 seasons ago because I was fed up with it.
I've literally I'm at my wit's end over there. But the thing with HBO is that they've never, like even with Sopranos, they literally cut it mid shot, it cuts to black, that very famous ending. So I think, and even when David Benioff and D.B. Weiss were talking about this show, they said this is The Sopranos in Middle Earth. Okay, that's how they describe this show. And I don't think HBO is very good at telling stories, and they will always know when to. I think that's why even the reduced number of episodes in the last couple of seasons that have been announced.
I think now it's just going to be a lot of action and a lot of fighting.
Yeah,
a lot of fighting.
I think the politics of it is done.
It's done.
I feel like beyond.
So, because the thing is, that's the thing. Politics is never done. Life, right? So, I think now what's happening is that we are finally seeing the White Walkers doing their thing. They are genuinely posing a threat, unlike in the first maybe 3 or 4 seasons when they were just getting their shit together and alluded to. All we were getting the first 3 or 4 seasons was a bunch of sex and dragons and politics.
Well, that was because they were fighting for the throne, right? The War of the 5 Kings.
Sure, but that thing is, those wars will keep on continuing. So now they've started building up these White Walkers, I think, so that there's finally some definitive ending of some sort. Because at the end of the day, this story doesn't have a start point and an end point. It doesn't have like once the ring goes into Mount Doom, the game is over.
Yeah,
they
don't have that.
So I think now they're finally like, okay, guys, we need to do something bigger than we've ever done. Let's just make the White Walkers a real threat, and let's have the guys all because eventually it's got to be the humans have to band together and put aside their petty differences in some shape or form.
We don't know.
Hopefully, it's not that simple.
Here's the other thing,
but that is the only ending they can have because that they need to have some one particular antagonist that antagonizes everybody so that we can all root for the same ending of some sort.
I'm beginning to feel that Daenerys is going to become the bad person.
Yeah, that's
where it's going.
So I think most people have been saying that Daenerys is kind of losing her mind. She's becoming like the Mad King. Then some people are saying Cersei has become the Mad King pretty much. And at which point somebody on Reddit made an amazing joke saying that the Kingslayer is now going to become a Queenslayer. And then somebody else was like, well, he's always been a Queenslayer. I was just like, gold for you, sir. On Reddit, but yeah, man, I think
that makes sense. Yeah, because she burnt them all like she burnt them all.
She did, and I mean, we also have that other really good theory. We will come back. Let's take a break, okay?
And come back with theories.
And come back with a few more theories. We'll talk a little bit more about Westeros and where all of this is going.
Hello there. My name is Naveen Narona, and as a gay person in India, I get asked a lot of stupid questions.
Beta, is it LGBT or eligibility?
How do 2 men procreate?
Bro, is Grindr better than Tinder or what?
We answer all these questions and much more on my podcast, Keeping It Queer, where I talk to individuals from the LGBT community in India and learn about their personal stories. Catch new episodes of Keeping It Queer every Monday on Audioboom, iTunes Global, SoundCloud, YouTube, or generally any of the podcasting apps. In fact, you can now download the IVM podcast app and listen to it. Happy listening.
And we're back on Geek Fruit. We're talking about Game of Thrones. We have Aalok, Dinkar, Jishnu, and myself, Tejas, and we're talking about Westeros. Do you feel like this last episode was like, I don't know, man, anything in pop culture that goes on long enough starts to become self-aware. And this episode felt like super meta, man. Like, you know, there was a one line which I think Tyrion tells Dany, and he's just like, can you believe this is happening? I just found that so meta. They were like, wait, this is a thing now.
I loved Sansa's cheeky smirk when she said, oh wait, who was it? I forget, either Sansa said it or Jon said it to Sansa. Winter is here.
Yeah.
And it was sort of like,
and Jon was like,
she says the line and she like smiles like, I know I've said the line. And this will be memed all over the place.
Yeah. So how did they announce that? They said a white raven came from...
So when Old Town sends out white ravens, that's like, they've studied it and they've studied the thing. And
where is Old Town?
It's way south. It's basically east of
Beyond?
Dawn. No, so Dawn and Old Town is, so it's like...
Oh, so it's not anywhere near King's Landing. Though it looks a lot like that.
Old Town's in the south.
So that's where Sam and Gilly are right now.
So they've come to the south.
Oh, and Sam. Cool. That's interesting. All right. So what do you think is going to happen with Sam's like arc? I don't know where it's heading.
He is essentially...
Like he's very... Sorry.
Go ahead.
It feels like he's very behind everyone else in the books because he doesn't know anything that's happened over the entire last season.
That's so true. Like, he enters the thing and the library he's like, well, Lord Commander Snow said... I was like, that was like literally 10 episodes ago. Like Westeros needs like news out with Arnab Goswami. You know, like they need Twitter or something, man.
I think he's basically going to play the impartial third-party wise man who like is very well learned and studied and knows all these things that Maesters know because he has his giant library at his... He has Google available to him, and nobody else has it. But because he will become Google. He will become the completely neutral third party. Like, ask me any question. I don't care about who you are, where you're from, what politics you're part of, what house you're from.
Well, I think
because if he doesn't know anything,
then he's still committed to Jon.
He'll be loyal to Jon. Of course, he'll be loyal to Jon. But I mean, like, he will basically be he's a sort of the bookworm version of Bran in some way, and that like he will randomly drop this epic knowledge.
That's true.
By the way,
as well,
in Bible verse
both
37,
Bran and Sam, who are these two characters who will know a lot and already know a lot, are going to be loyal to the Starks, right? And Jon Snow, because
of course, I don't see why not.
And also like Sam loves Jon.
So at this moment, I feel that like out of the three armies which we described, the weakest is Cersei's. Right, because
she doesn't have much now, does she?
She doesn't have. She's only in King's Landing, but I don't think she has
that many allies. Even
only she has the Lannister army, right, and the Lannister gold.
And she has Jaime, who's also
only ace in the hole is Jaime and the Mountain.
I think also or Lannister gold, so she can buy all the sellswords she needs.
Maybe
for
like all the bronze of
because all the second sons. Yeah. The Golden Company and the
but then the thorn in a foot, thorn in a boot is that Jaime might and probably will. Be up in arms with like, screw this. I'm out.
Well, I mean, he has not. I mean, they have a weird. Obviously, it's just. I mean, it goes almost without saying that they have a weird relationship. But like I feel like they're bound to each other, like in a weird way. Even though they will be fighting and they are against each. He is going nuts with this whole. I mean, her kids are dead. Her father's dead. Everyone's dead. Everyone's turned against her. So I believe that Jaime, even though he might not, agree with it, he will stay with her for whatever reason because he's just. They are bound together, for better or worse. So I think that's it. And also the Mountain is too busy having zombie sex. That was so weird. Oh my god. That was dark.
Creepy.
That was dark as hell. Oh my gosh.
I think they had to do something after
I remember we were like my friends and I were discussing this episode on WhatsApp, and then out of the five of us, only one of my friends Harry hasn't seen Game of Thrones, and my friend was just like, and the Mountain is too busy he's too busy doing that nun with his zombie penis. And then he's just like, wow, this sentence out of context is just crazy for somebody who doesn't watch.
It's crazy in context. There's no saving that sentence. But so speaking of theories and stuff, so obviously Bran has been a view into like flashbacks and sort of getting the backstory and whatnot, and we mentioned this on several episodes ago, that there's been serious speculation and talks about prequels to the show and whatnot, because there's so much lore that we can get back into. What do you think? Do you want a prequel, or do you think can we just continue to have Bran give us like selective, flashbacks, like, hey, this will fill you in on like a tiny little bit, because you could easily have a Ned Stark series just on his whole upbringing, and that'd be great. But then, do we need one? Because we have Bran to like give us the bullet points of that.
Have we all? But who's like on board for prequels though? Generally, like most people don't like prequels because we kind of know where it's heading.
Sure.
Unless it's set like so many years ago, like
and it can be.
or something.
Like we can hear about the Mad King. We can see the Mad King coming to power. We can go even.
But I think one of the good things about Game of Thrones
Thrones
is that we hear about it from other characters. It's really
makes
nice.
it more interesting somehow that we've come in at this point.
Yeah, no,
There's all this history that we don't have to see, maybe.
I'm very much in the camp of I don't want any more Game of Thrones. Once they're done, let them be done.
I don't want any prequels. I want the books to be finished.
Yeah, that's true.
I think that's my major priority. Number one. The first things first, please get the books done. I mean,
how many books are left? There are 2 more, is it?
So yeah, there's supposed to be 2 more. This one's taken 5 years, so I'm guessing
2 more as in
2022 is when he's going to finish the book.
Wait,
last book.
So the one that's coming out right now is
This is the 6th book. It's called The Winds of Winter.
And there are only 7, right?
And they're supposed to be 7. Sure. I mean, and like,
he might pull a J.K. Rowling and like make a stage play that he puts in 2 parts, and then like you have to go watch it.
No, I mean,
Cersei and the Cursed Child. No,
I don't know, because the books are so well written and they've got to a certain place right now.
Enough.
And I guess the level of detail that's in the books and level, it takes time. But get that done.
Yeah, but I mean, you could also pull a J.K. Rowling and then do like what she's doing with Fantastic Beasts. Also, yeah, it's like so both ways. I mean, like,
so he's written a history of Westeros book, by the way. Like in the
there
middle.
you go.
Yeah,
I mean,
he's done
they might
that,
just adapt the Armageddon Rag, or was it his other book? He's written another book, guys.
No, he's written a whole bunch of other books.
Yeah.
He writes another book in between each Game of Thrones book.
What a guy! It's basically his inception between Dark Knight and Dark Knight
Rises. The first
Rises.
book was written in the mid '90s and released there, so it's been going on for a while.
Yeah, man, you should see the people on Reddit. Like they're going over the whole Tower of Joy sequence, and they were just like, I've been waiting literally 20 years to see this happen, and it's just like, and I'm not even reading it. I'm just watching on television.
So that's crazy. So there's really hilarious video on YouTube where I think it was at Comic-Con where this comedy band is spoofing George R.R. Martin, saying. Like making fun of him, saying that he'll never write another book, and he comes on stage, takes a guitar and breaks it. And it's hilarious. It's
nice.
So it's like a spoil. He knows it's funny. It takes a while.
But I could very well see it. I mean, they could just pull a Hobbit, because they have really cut down on the fat of these books, much like they did with Lord of the Rings. And they made a brilliant movie or brilliant trilogy of movies, and then they said, well,
and then let's screw it up.
Let's screw up another one, and let's take the shortest book that he's written, or one of, if not the shortest.
It is one of the short. It is the shortest. And it's a kids' book.
And let's cut that down even further. Yet somehow bleed it out into 3 movies.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like these guys would do that, though.
Yeah, that's what I said. HBO is very strong about their storytelling principles. Like, I don't know, man. I don't know if they have. I mean, why we're even talking about it is because they have mentioned like maybe prequels, things like that.
I don't think he'll allow it as a person.
George R.R. Martin?
He's into so much.
You don't think he's already signed his soul away into these television series?
I don't think so.
I think he had to have, like, when a show gets this big.
Yeah, it's bigger than you.
You can't blame him. You can't blame him.
You can't blame the guy.
Yeah,
I think you should. I think like if he's written a beautiful story that I think needs to be told and needs to be shared, and unfortunately in this day and age, not nearly enough people will read a book as quick as they'll watch a show.
But I'll highly recommend people, if anybody's listening, read the books. Even if you've seen all 6 seasons.
I'm waiting until the show's done to read the books.
So 2 more years, Jishnu.
Because I want to...
But actually, it'll be a good thing because...
I'll get 2 stories. Exactly. I want to hear 2 different Game of Thrones. Games of Thrones.
Yeah, but then you'll still have to wait. Actually, not 2 more years for when the show's over, but then another like 8 more years. 6 years till the books are over.
I'm a slow reader. I'll be on book 7.
No, and these are big books. That's the reason why I stopped at like book 2. But so let's actually talk. So there's 10 months between now and when the next one comes out, is it?
Yeah,
10 months?
10 and a half months, maybe.
10 and a half months.
So that is...
So next year, at the time it came out.
Yeah.
But will there be a shorter gap though before... And are they shooting the last 2 seasons together or something like that? Because it would be a total of what, 13 episodes? No, sorry, 11 episodes. Which is just one more than what they usually do.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
So next season is 7 and then it's 4?
Yeah.
7 episodes and then 4 episodes is what they've claimed. I think 7 is definitely confirmed.
I think it's a split season, right? Technically, they're shooting it together. I don't think they're releasing it.
I think
it's
only one more season.
I think they're 2 seasons, yeah.
As in they're splitting into 2.
Yeah, but they'll probably shoot it together.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
That's fine.
So, yeah.
Yeah, the stuff is intense to shoot.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know, the graphics have become so good, like even better than they were before. Like, and this show has been going on for 6 years, so there's been a considerable amount of time.
Speaking of the graphics, right? A point I mentioned a while ago was that this particular episode was great because it was really giving you closure for everybody's story, so you can set them in place, and we can do this recap succinctly, and it makes sense. So there were so many different endings, right? Like, plenty of moments you could have just cut to black, like the minute Arya slits her throat, the minute that the explosion happens, the minute like Tomlin kills himself. There's so many endings, and so I was wondering which is the ending. Like when she says winter is here, I was like, well, boom, there's your ending. Yeah. But no. It had to be the Dany thing, which I thought...
Oh, was it the Dany? Oh, yeah.
Dany was the close.
King of the North.
No, exactly. King of the North again was beautiful just to hear it again. Like, I teared up at King of the North. I was like, oh my god, yeah.
Okay, we'll get back to that. But there's a...
But I feel like really strange about that King of the North thing.
So, there's a... Okay, so if you're talking about King of the North...
that's it.
I'm happy it happened.
So am I.
So this was a huge theory which was making the rounds. It's called the Grand Northern Conspiracy. Yeah. Which is like a 7-part theory, which is no, seriously, and it's eloquently written, and it's beautifully done. So, okay, to summarize it, so before Robb Stark died, there's a conversation between him and Catelyn, and Catelyn has said, if you were to perish in this battle, who would your heir be? And so he said there should always be a Stark at Winterfell. Yeah. And he had been declared king of the North.
Yeah, he was a wolf of the North.
And and obviously the girls can't be made king or queen at that point of time.
And non-progressive.
It was in the Republican era. Now we're in the Democrat. They've gone a blue. So Westeros is a blue state.
And at that point, he thought that Bran and Rickon were dead because no one knew that. I don't think anybody still knows that they're dead.
Yeah. Sorry, Westeros is a blue state is the best. Sorry, go ahead. It really is now.
It asked me for a while and then I like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
So apparently he so he legitimizes Jon as a Stark because he's king. He can do that.
Ooh, this is
Robb in a will. And he says, and there are a couple of bannermen, Manderly and all included.
Yeah.
So that's the theory that okay, if Robb dies,
House Manderly who did not answer the call.
So yeah, there's another theory for that also. That, so he dies and whatever, and there are a few people, including Catelyn Stark. Catelyn was not happy, but he went ahead that Robb is going to succeed him.
Yeah.
And so then whatever he dies, the Manderly. So the theory is. The North families decide to take both sides. Some of them join Boltons, some of them join the Lannisters.
The Starks.
The Lannisters.
Oh, the Lannisters.
Yeah. So the Freys, sorry.
Oh, okay. At this point, yeah. You're talking about post the Red
Wedding.
No,
wait for it.
Go back 30 seconds.
We're talking about the Red Wedding. From the
Red Wedding onwards. The Northern men are divided. Some of them join the Freys. Some of them join the Boltons. When Roose Bolton is made Warden of the North.
Yes.
The theory being, and you asked why Manderly didn't answer the call.
Yeah.
And like when Mage Mormont said, Joanna Mormont, the kid says, Lyanna Mormont.
Oh God.
Yeah.
So
says too many Mormonts.
Yes.
Yeah. Says there's only one king in the North and his name is Stark.
Yes.
That stuff like that. So apparently in the books and how it's written is these guys did join these sides knowingly so that they can make Bolton fight Frey. In a way, or Bolton fight someone, each other.
Oh, it's strategic.
So it's strategic, and Manderly is part of it, and then therefore to get Jon eventually, and they don't tell Jon because they don't want Stannis to know because Stannis is with Jon at that time.
God. Yeah, so exactly.
So the way they did it in the show is like, oh no, I'm saying that he's king, and everybody peer pressure. Everybody is going to say king
until the kid basically makes them feel bad.
Yeah, pretty much.
Like, my God, Lyanna Mormont.
Shame.
Dude. I mean, like she is such a badass, dude. She just like schooled everyone in that. Like this is the third time she's schooling people, dude. It's crazy good. She's damn good.
She's damn good.
Like and it's also like. I don't know if this is like just ironic that her name is also Lyanna. That's also really great. Love that moment. So yeah, man. Other favorite character from this show, man. The Onion Knight is like he's my boy.
The who?
The Onion. Davos.
Davos. I love Davos.
Davos is so great.
Who doesn't love Davos?
Dude, that scene in the middle, like he was so like what a dramatic scene was great. Like when he's talking about Shireen and stuff.
Yeah.
He's just excellent. I saw the episode like twice. I think like just for that, it was excellent, man. He was so good.
Why is he called the Onion Knight? I forget.
Because he's a smuggler.
He was
and used to
a pirate first, right?
Oh,
yeah, he used to smuggle onions. It was way back before he had all 5 digits. Yeah, when he had all 5 digits. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I have a theory that I literally just came up with. What if we have a battle between Dany and Jon?
Yeah.
And so like basically they're going at it. At which point we have a BVS Martha situation where they're like, your parents are Targaryen, my parents are Targaryen.
I think you cracked it. You've cracked it.
Let's go talk to them. Let's go beat the White
But
Walkers.
technically, I mean, so she's his aunt, right? I mean, like,
she's his aunt, I suppose.
If that's the and then
that doesn't matter with the Targaryens.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah,
it does not matter.
But she wants to get married to somebody else, so she's mentioned that.
Yeah.
What if she gets married to Jon?
Yeah, well, it's not beyond the realm of possibility in this. Yeah, ew. It would be. And also, I can't see it happen, man.
That's been the show, though.
Are we getting into theories?
I mean, and the third, and the last thing is of the third Dragon Rider.
Dragon Rider, yeah.
So, Aalok, you want to go ahead with this?
I mean, who do you think the 3 Dragon Riders are going to be? Like, I'm asking you guys.
It's
Danny, Tyrion,
and John.
Yeah, Tyrion's going to be a Dragon Rider?
So, Tyrion
there's
a theory where he's a Targaryen.
Oh.
He's a Targaryen because...
And he's not Lannister at all, is that great?
No, he's half Lannister, half Targaryen. His mother is Lannister.
Yeah,
and his father is Mad King.
The Aerys, yeah. So that means he's Danny's brother.
Yeah,
exactly. Wow, that's so cool. And the other thing that somebody pointed out is that these are the only 3 characters who all moms have died in childbirth, as in like 2 of them, obviously the same one. But like all 3 have died in childbirth. All 3 have like really terrible childhoods and have always been, outcasts in their own way. And just like, that's what this entire story is about. It's just these 3 coming to lay waste and have the environmental battle that we all need to have. So I want to
pose a question.
Yeah.
I want to pose a question. Why do you think this is arguable? I can't really think of any other show that does it as much as this one does. Why is this the only show that has such a convoluted relationship tree between all its characters that we're willing to put up with?
What do you mean? Like in terms of like how they're related, like blood?
In terms of just keeping track of the damn thing. It's so confusing. There's no other show that I can think of that's anywhere close to being this complicated.
For one,
why is this one? What makes this work? Why is this show good?
I think it's an ode to the genre itself. Is this like fantasy has always been about different races or different ethnicities in this case. I mean with Tolkien it's been like elves and dwarves and things and all of that. But here if it's just like medieval times and all that stuff. A lot of like and a lot of this show and the battles and stuff like I was reading somewhere that George R. Martin is based on the War of Roses which used to happen in the medieval times, and there was a house Lancaster and a house something else which then became Lannister and Stark, and that became like the original thing. But I mean just in the whole fantasy way he's kind of really split it up and he's made this is a truly what you would call an ensemble
so it
show.
Works with the genre, but why else?
I think it hits close to home. I mean there's a lot of family drama involved, some over the top stuff obviously, but there's that plus there's a lot of politics. So I mean it's intriguing on a human level even though it's a fantasy based show.
I see that.
So that may be the reason why people get it. It's like, oh, it's cool, there's some outwardly shit going on. But this could happen in Madhya Pradesh or something like
this has happened in Madhya Pradesh.
So
and I think one thing that is different about this show is like right at the end of season 1. Wait, when did Ned Stark die? Season 1?
Season 1.
Yeah, at the end of season 1.
9.
When that happens is what hooked a lot of people, including me, because like suddenly it's not just that they've thrown a lot of characters in, there are consequences to what these guys are doing.
Right.
So like Ned Stark, in spite of being like the hero character, doing like everything right according to us, is dead. And that happens very rarely.
Yeah.
Like I actually can't think of another example of
Walking Dead has been like that. I mean Walking Dead has been like one of the first
Breaking
few
Bad.
shows.
Also,
I've just started watching
Breaking Bad though, like
Shh, guys. I just started watching it.
You
so
just started watching Breaking Bad?
Jesus
I just started watching Breaking Bad.
I forgot you haven't seen it.
Okay. Well, this show, for example, like whatever these guys do seems to have very realistic consequences. Because I mean, like Ned Stark at the end of the day was like an honorable idiot. Yeah, and he got killed.
Idiots
for it.
lose in this. I mean, like good people die because they have honor is not respected in this.
Honor is not smart.
Yeah,
it's not always the smartest thing to do.
And that's why now that Danny being an honorable character and John being an honorable character are starting to win, it feels like a real victory.
So do you feel like it's a departure though from what this show has been like so far? Like the first five seasons of the show has been axing characters left, right, and center. People with good, no, like what they say, no good deed goes unpunished, right? This is the perfect show for that. And do you feel like now, like, especially like when John, the very fact of him coming back to life is such a departure from what they would usually do. It's like, it doesn't feel like a cop-out because it feels like the fans deserve a break. It just feels like that. But do you feel like this season has kind of finally left the deaths behind, and now it's going to be about real, like all the characters who have suffered.
It's becoming a little more conventional.
Not conventional, but all the characters who have suffered have gone through their, penance or whatever it is, like Sansa or Arya or Jon. All of these characters who have just really suffered through the first 5 seasons of losing people and losing their families, etc., and now finally have become so hardened by the world that they have now starting to get their comeuppance. So do you feel that way?
Yes and no. I don't think so.
Okay.
Coming back to your point, which you were coming back, the good thing about this show is that even the good guys have a bad side. and the bad guys have a good side.
So there's morally grey.
It's completely grey. I mean, you end up hating people in the first season, and by like 5th season, hey, he's my hero.
Yeah.
As opposed to, and now you can see like, I mean, shades of Danny turning into a bad person.
And Jamie becoming like a good person.
Good guy. So I mean, that's what really gets me, because there's no absolute good and absolute evil.
It's true. Yeah.
And even like John, he's not going evil, but that guy's not happy, man.
Yeah, he's not.
He's never
just
happy.
like walking around going like, everything sucks.
But like he is an idiot though. What do you think of Battle of the Bastards, right? I mean, John is not the best.
He's not the smartest.
He's
not the brightest.
But
guy.
that's why I liked it so much, because it's
kind of
portrayed how random wars are.
It's great.
Like you're alive because of luck.
Yeah.
And most
Literally
of the time, as opposed to the way that entire sequence was shot was one of the best, my favorite
absolutely.
scenes
So
I've ever seen.
something you guys mentioned was that it covers a wide range of genres, and it satisfies a bunch of different audiences that like a lot of different kind of things. Because like you said, one episode can be completely all political backstabbing and just a whole bunch of really heated conversations without any bloodshed, and then some episodes are just full of bloodshed and just war on war, and then some episodes are a bit lighter where you get more Sam, and an episode with more Sam is probably a bit more comedic and a little bit, or an episode with Tyrion can be really light and funny, but it can also be really intense because of politics. And I think a show, if it was set today, like let's say House of Cards or West Wing or something like that.
House of Cards is very similar in that sense.
It's similar in that sense. It's very up and down, back and forth, who's on top today, like this guy is going to backstab that guy. There are a couple of deaths that happen, and those are very big and important because they're so few and far between. But I think what this show has to its advantage is that it can be a chameleon based on whose storyline we're following in today's episode. And so when deaths happen, I think they rightfully are sporadic and random, and on occasion on mass quantity, because it's set in this era where deaths are so trivial. Like Tomlin just walks out the window. Yeah, that's fine. It happens. Cool. Let's move on.
Also, we don't give a damn about Tomlin.
No, but it engages people a lot more, because it's not that you're going to be like relaxing that
absolutely
they're not going to kill Tyrion.
True.
Like when when he went to face the dragons. I mean, that was a scene which also confirmed that he's a Targaryen.
It's possible.
But when he's going to the dragons, they're like, don't kill him that way. Like there's a sense of tension. Like you can't kill the main guy off that went away when Robb Stark died.
But I mean, when Ned Stark died, you were just like, that's not going to happen.
So that grips people in the show because they don't know. Right? You can't assume anything.
A good example of it was Marjorie in this episode. I mean, I was so sure she was gonna get out of it. And and when Loras Tyrell renounced his name, and I thought he was gonna go. It's like, now I'm off to be Luke Cage. No, Danny Rand.
It felt like there'd be a victory there, but there wasn't. Do you guys think that the way the books are written, with each chapter being from
one person,
is why this story works? Like the form in which the story was written. There's, you could kill off Ned Stark and still have a reader
bunch of other
invested in the show.
characters who are there.
Aalok.
That's the best part of the first book, right? Because you're reading it from his perspective. And then like suddenly those chapters they just end.
There's no perspective at all. So it does, and you can get into each character's thoughts and depths a lot more than it was like a overall narration, which helps in building individual characters up and then getting into
probably the format that this the form of how the story was written is like very crucial.
I don't know if it's very crucial. That's the thing. Because I don't know if you've read Lord of the Rings, you know how it is. I mean, like
true.
It's very periodic. I mean, like you have to literally just go through, and there's a lot of boring stuff. I mean, here you can't even.
And also, I think any story, regardless of what medium you put it down in, needs to be written that way. If you have any story with a bunch of characters, you need to be able to isolate every character and say, okay, what's his story? What's he doing? Great. Does it make sense? Is it worth the readers?
A hero's journey kind of narrative. You kill off the hero and you're screwed. But here, I guess they've just installed like 15
there is no hero.
There's no hero. That's the good thing about it.
It's just whoever's in power today, which is great because it keeps it interesting. Anyway, let's wrap this up.
Good episode. Any final thoughts on season 7? Give me a wildest theory.
Prediction for opener for next season.
Yeah,
the wall's gonna break.
The wall's going to break.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you're saying the first episode.
That's what's going to happen at the big. I want that to happen at the beginning of the.
Even though what's the guy?
How will the Night King do this?
I don't know.
Half dead guy. What's his name?
Benjen Stark.
Benjen. He said that like the wall was made with like magic and all that.
So exactly. While it's up, they can't get across. Even though there are ways to go underneath.
Sure.
There's magic. The magic refers to the way that even the White Walkers can't go through the wall.
Yeah, they can't
even
pass
if it's
through.
up. So the wall has to be destroyed before which they.
So I always thought the war was going to happen at the wall. Like that that's where it should happen. It
Yeah.
won't happen in the northern riverlands of the north. I mean, like that would be a really sad place
they'll get
to-
heat stroke.
But the
and,
idea of
you know,
like
they
White
can't handle
Walkers
it.
in King's Landing sounds pretty terrifying.
Yeah, but they won't melt, right?
That's what I'm thinking about. They'll get sunstroke.
Are they
But
made of
winters
snow?
come,
Are
though.
they just like snowmen?
The White Walkers are
Do you
snowmen.
want to
It'll be
build
like
a
the ending of
White
War of the
Walker?
Worlds, where like it's not us who beat it, it's the
It's the
germs.
germs. Oh god, that.
Yeah. I mean, are the White Walkers the real heroes of this story, though? Who are just coming to put real
Okay.
retribution to the
Okay,
villains
I'll tell
of
you,
this
this is
show?
not a theory, but something I want to see more of, which I think they very well could do. I hope they do. We've got tons of backstory on everybody, and thanks to Bran now, we get even more. So we know everybody's motivation. We know where they came from. We know why they're doing this. Blah blah blah. The White Walkers, I would love to know exactly why they are the way they are. And we've gotten
There
you know,
was a. They
we've gotten a little
explained
bit, yes,
to
yeah.
How they
How
they came
originally
about
the
from the
forest.
children, but I'd love to get to know more about them about each four of those guys, basically
Yeah.
Apocalypse and his 4 horsemen. I'd love to know who those guys are, why they're there, why
But
they're
I
willing to put up with this,
I mean,
why
I feel
they
like
want
the
the
whole
throne.
mystery of them
Wasn't
is what
that
makes them
this-
so good.
Yeah.
It's like
It's
if we get
traditional.
into their story, also it'll just be like one White Walker who's got depression. Like he's just
Yeah.
like I'm the sad White Walker. I'm the Jon Snow of the White
But I
Walker.
would-
Wasn't there
love
a
to know that
theory
there's
of
heart behind it, you know?
the Night King being related to Jon Snow
Yeah,
somehow? Because
exactly.
of, like,
He
the,
may have been a Stark.
Yeah,
Like he-
exactly.
That's
So there's some whispers of things
I
like this.
haven't heard about
Yeah.
this.
so no. So
You remember
they
at
were
the end where Jon Snow's getting away from the
Yeah,
White
yeah,
Walkers in
and
the
they
boat
have that
and they
really
have this
nice-
like intense stare off?
Yeah.
That's the
so-
theory. That's the theory I've read.
But I thought that's because ultimately that's where what's the name of his sword? The Longclaw.
Yeah.
Is supposed to I mean that's the final fight. It's Night King versus Jon Snow. We all know that's gonna happen. But it's like gonna be 2 seasons until we see that. I thought that was just like the setup. Like I see you,
No,
dog. I
there's
see you.
there's some Al. Do you know in detail? There's something about how the
related,
Night King
isn't it?
is actually Baratheon or something.
No,
Or
he may be
some-
he may be a Stark of old. So they were created by the children to protect themselves from men.
Right.
The
They were
Fist of the
men-
First Man. Is that's where
So,
it comes
the
from,
children
right?
came to Westeros first, and then they were the first men, and then the Andals. So the people here are like the Andals, which is not the first men. The Starks have the blood of the first men.
Oh.
The southern kingdoms have the blood. That's why the Starks worship the old gods.
So
And
then
the
these guys-
Andals are the
So-
brought the seven. The faith of the seven came.
So
to
if
the
Donald
rest,
Trump came to Westeros, he would build a wall to keep the Andals out. The Andals are the immigrants.
to keep the
The Andals are the dirty immigrants.
Well, if he wanted, I mean, Donald Trump, if he could, he'd build a wall anywhere. Like, he'd build one with Canada also. This is true.
Anyway,
On that note, we'll be back next week. And you can find us at Geek Fruit HQ on Instagram, on Facebook, and on Twitter. Tweet us your thoughts.
yeah.
Thought us your tweets. Write to us. Contact geekfruit@gmail.com. And we will see you back very soon. Thank you, Aalok, for being here.
It was fun.
And we'll do another one, I guess, in another 10 months.
Yeah,
We'll
sounds
have you
good.
here in another 10 months.
See you in several weeks.
Yeah.
Yep.
Bye,
In
guys.
several weeks.
Cool.
The Geek Fruit podcast is an IVM production, and if you enjoy listening to us, I suspect you will like listening to the Fan Garage, or TFG as we like to call them around here. It's a podcast about sports, and it comes out every day. They talk about football, cricket, and fantasy leagues, which is what it's called when you're not good enough to play the sport yourself. But hey, you can listen to a podcast about it.
Hey man, just help me out, man. I need some podcast, man. I haven't had a fix in a week. Just need some.
Don't you worry about it. I got podcast galore for you, man. Just go to ivmpodcast.com. You can also find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Thanks, man. I'm gonna check it out.